Usually when we talk about a problem like a medical diagnosis, there is a clear expectation of precision. It is, it is like engineering.
Right, like fixing a machine.
Exactly. Imagine you fall down and your arm hurts. You go to the hospital. The doctor takes an x-ray picture. And that picture shows a jagged white line on the bone. The doctor points a finger right at that line and says, well, they say, there it is. That is the broken bone. That is the problem.
It's very binary. I mean, there are only two choices.
Yeah.
The bone is broken or the bone is not broken. It is clean. It's simple to see.
Broken or not broken. Exactly. And honestly, that is comforting. As humans, we like things to be visible.
We really do.
We like to see the problem with our own eyes. We like things to be easily placed into neat little boxes.
We really do prefer it when life is simple and clear.
But then you step away from the doctor's office. You step into the world of human connection.
Which is very messy.
Very messy. You step into the world of how we talk to our families, our friends, and our coworkers. And suddenly that x-ray machine does not work anymore.
No, it does not.
You cannot take a picture of a broken conversation. We are looking at a landscape that is very difficult to see. It is like trying to look through dirty window glass. It is murky.
It is very hard to see clearly. When an argument happens, you cannot just point to an x-ray and say, there's the broken word.
Right. But our source text for today's deep dive argues something completely different.
It really does.
It argues that we actually can find the broken bone in our conversations. It makes a very big, bold claim.
A massive claim.
It says that communication is not just talking. It says communication is a precise, almost mathematical formula. And even more importantly, it argues that communication is the very definition of being alive.
That is a huge statement. The very definition of being alive.
It is a massive statement. And because we're exploring such a big idea today, I want to say something directly to you, the listener. Yep. We know you might be learning English. Or maybe you just want to understand these deep ideas without feeling rushed. So we are going to take our time today.
We will not rush at all.
No, we are going to speak at a relaxed, deliberate pace.
We will define our words very carefully.
Yes, we want to unpack these ideas slowly and clearly. If you want to absorb this information without feeling overwhelmed by fast talking, well, you are in the perfect place.
The perfect place.
We are going to walk through this together step by step. So let us look at the core premise, the main idea of this source text.
Okay.
The author claims that your ability to communicate spells the difference between success and failure in all aspects of living.
The author's very direct about this.
Yeah.
Many people think they know how to communicate.
Right.
They open their mouths, words come out, and they think, I am communicating. But this text provides a precise formula for what actual communication really is.
Okay, let's unpack this, because I want to challenge this idea right away. The text divides the whole world into two groups.
Yeah.
On one side, you have successful people. The author notes that people who are successful generally possess a high ability to communicate.
Yes.
On the other side, you have unsuccessful people who generally do not have this ability. But I have to push back here. Is life really that black and white?
It is a strong division.
Right. Like, what if my car gets a flat tire on the way to work? That is not a communication failure. That is just bad luck. How can the text claim that every failure is about communication?
That is a very fair challenge. A flat tire is a physical event.
Yeah.
A storm destroying a roof is a physical event.
Yeah.
But let us look closely at what the author actually argues. The text claims that the biggest problems people have in everyday living specifically stem from or grow out of communication difficulties.
So it is not about the tire popping.
Correct. The tire popping is physics. But what happens next?
I have to deal with it.
Exactly. You have to call your boss to explain why you were late. Can you explain it clearly, or does your boss get angry?
Oh, I see.
You have to call a mechanic. Can you explain what is wrong with the car, or do they charge you for the wrong repair? The physical event is just a fact. But the human problem, the stress, the anger, the lost money, comes from the inability to transmit or send an idea.
I see. So the failure in life is not the bad luck itself.
No.
The failure is our inability to handle the bad luck by communicating with the people around us.
Exactly. When human relationships break down, the text argues a failure in communication is almost always the root cause. It is about the inability to send an idea out or the inability to receive an idea in.
This brings up a really fun point from the source. To show us what failure looks like, the text points out people who think they are communicating, but they actually are not.
They're very funny examples.
We can call them the fake communicators. Let us look at these examples slowly. They are meant to be funny, but they are also very real.
They represent very common failures in daily life.
Let us group the first two together. These are failures of sending and receiving. The first example is what we can call the expressive failure. This is a person who has trouble expressing or showing their thoughts. They want to say something, but the words get mixed up.
Right.
In the text, a person wants to show that they are surprised. But instead of saying, I cannot believe it, they just say nonsense. They say, I can chicken.
I can chicken. It makes absolutely no sense.
None at all. If someone walks up to you and says, I can chicken, what do?
You would probably just stare at them.
Yeah.
You would be totally confused. The idea in the speaker's brain did not make it out of their mouth correctly. They failed to express the idea.
Now, let us look at the opposite problem, the listening failure.
This is a big one.
If throwing the words out is so easy, why do people end up holding the wrong food at a restaurant?
That happens all the time.
It really does. This is an example directly from the text. Imagine you are in a restaurant. You are the customer. You sit down, you look at the server, and you clearly say, I would like to order the chicken, please.
A very simple request.
Very simple. You sent the right words. You did not say, I can chicken.
No, you did not.
You said, I would like the chicken. But then, 20 minutes later, the server brings out the food. And what is on the plate?
Not chicken.
Meatballs. Or a fish fillet. The text uses this exact image. The customer looks at the plate and says, excuse me, this is not what I ordered. I ordered the chicken.
And suddenly, the kitchen staff is fighting.
The customer is unhappy. The server is confused.
So what went wrong there? The customer sent the clear message. The server was standing right there.
The server failed to listen.
Yes. But let us go deeper than just saying bad listening. The server might have heard sound, their ears worked.
Right.
But they did not receive the actual message. Their brain did not register the word chicken. Maybe they were thinking about another table.
Or maybe they were tired.
Exactly. They failed at the receiving part of the equation.
That makes perfect sense. So we have expressive failure and listening failure. Now let us look at another group of fake communicators from the text.
Okay.
These are failures of emotion and connection. The text gives us the too little talker. This one is quite sad.
It is a very emotional example.
Let us imagine the scene slowly. Imagine a father. He loves his child very much. He goes to the store.
He spends a long time picking out the perfect birthday present.
He brings it home. He wraps it in beautiful paper. He walks up to his child, hands the gift over, and says, hey, I got you a present for your birthday.
He is waiting for a reaction.
Oh.
He's waiting for joy or a smile or, a simple thank you. He is trying to build a bridge between himself and his child.
Yes. But what happens, the person receiving the gift opens it, they look at it, and they just say 3 words. Cute, let it go.
Cute, let it go.
That is it. And the father is left standing there. How does that feel?
Terrible.
It feels empty. The response was too little. It did not match the warm energy the father was sending.
The connection was broken. The person receiving the gift completely failed to participate in the exchange. They did not complete the circle.
And finally, we have 2 examples that are complete opposites of each other. The non-starter and the non-ender.
A non-starter.
Yes. The non-starter is the person who cannot begin a conversation. They walk up to you, they clear their throat, and they say, so I drove to Long Beach today. Yeah, never mind.
They start to build a bridge, and then they just stop building it. They walk away. You are left wondering, what were they going to say? Why did they stop?
And then the complete opposite, the non-ender.
Oh, this one is exhausting.
This is the person who just keeps talking, and they never know how to stop.
Right.
The text describes a person rambling, talking endlessly without focus about cars. Mercedes, Bentley, there was this Ferrari. Oh my goodness, you could hear this thing. They just keep throwing words at you. They never take a breath to let you speak.
What's fascinating here is that these are not just funny little stories. They represent fundamental breakdowns in human connection.
Okay.
We have the person rambling forever about the Ferrari.
Oh.
We have the server who brings meatballs instead of chicken. We have the child saying, cute, let it go. These look like very different problems on the surface, do they not?
They look totally different. One talks too much, one does not listen well, one does not show emotion.
But they are suffering from the exact same underlying issue. They all lack a communication formula. They do not understand the mechanics of how human connection actually works.
The mechanics, that is a great word, like the engine of a car.
Yes.
When you lift the hood of a car, you see belts and engine parts working together in a specific way. How does communication actually work? The author argues that until now, no one has ever been able to tell anyone exactly how to communicate. But the source offers what it calls a precise formula.
A precise formula. That means it is exact, it is reliable. If you follow the steps, it works every single time.
So let us look at this formula. Let us build it piece by piece so you, the listener, can really see it in your mind. The text uses a very basic setup with two people. Let us call them Joe and Bill.
Okay, Joe and Bill.
Before we use the exact words from the text, let me give you a picture. Think of playing a game of catch with a baseball.
A game of catch.
Yes. You are standing in the green grass of a park. You have a white baseball in your hand. I am standing across the grass. I am wearing a brown leather baseball glove. I am ready to catch.
Okay, I can picture that.
If I'm holding the baseball, I am the starting point. I am where the action begins. I move my arm. I throw the ball. The ball has to travel through the air, across the grass, to reach your glove.
That is a perfect, simple image. The baseball is the message you want to send.
Exactly. The ball is the word hello, or the word chicken. Now, let us translate this game of catch into the scientific words from our source text. Let us define these terms very slowly.
Good idea.
The first word in the formula is cause. Let me spell that. C-A-U-S-E, cause.
In our formula, the cause is the person making the statement. If Bill starts speaking, Bill is the cause. He is the origin point. He's the one throwing the baseball.
Cause.
Yeah.
Got it. The second word in the formula is distance. Let me spell that. D-I-S-T-A-N-C-E. Distance.
Distance is the space between the two people. It is the grass between you and me in the park. The message, the baseball must travel across this space. Now, this can be a literal physical space, like sitting across a table at a restaurant.
Or it could be a far physical distance, like talking to someone in another country on the telephone.
Exactly. But it can also be a metaphorical distance, an emotional distance.
Wait, what do you mean by emotional distance?
Imagine two people sitting right next to each other on a sofa. They're physically very close.
Okay.
But they just had a terrible argument. They are angry. They're not looking at each other. The emotional distance between them is huge. A message still has to cross that difficult space.
Oh, wow. That is a great point. So we have cause and we have distance. The third word is effect. Let me spell that. E-F-F-E-C-T, effect.
The effect is the person receiving the statement. If Bill is talking across the space to Joe, Joe is the effect. He's the one wearing the baseball glove. He is catching the ball.
Cause, distance, effect. Bill says something across a distance to Joe. Bill is cause. The space is distance. Joe is effect.
Right. Now I have another question for you. Why is it so important to use these specific scientific words? Why can we not just say speaker and listener?
That is a crucial question. Why use words like cause and effect? By labeling someone cause and someone effect, the text does something very clever.
What is that?
It removes the emotion and the blame from the situation. It treats a conversation like a law of physics, like gravity.
Like gravity. So if I drop an apple, it falls to the ground. There is no anger. It is just physics.
Exactly. If a conversation fails, you do not have to say, Joe is a bad person who never listens to me. He is so lazy.
Right. That just makes people angry.
Causes anger. Instead, you can look at the formula and say, the effect point was not established.
The effect point was not established. That sounds so calm.
It is calm. It takes away the blame. It allows you to look at the mechanics, just like looking at a car engine. It raises an important question for all of us. How often do we speak? How often are we cause without ensuring there is an actual effect on the other side?
That is a good point. How often do we just throw the baseball into the dark without checking if anyone is standing there to catch it?
Oh, wow. We do that all the time, do we not? Think about your daily life. We talk at our computer screens when they freeze.
Yes, we do.
We yell inside our cars when there is bad traffic. We mutter quietly to ourselves while cooking. We are being cause, but there is no effect. There is nobody catching the ball. But wait, I need to push back again.
Okay, push back.
Throwing the ball once is not a game of catch. If I throw you the baseball and you catch it in your glove, the game stops. You are just standing there holding a ball. That is not a conversation.
You are absolutely right. To play the game, you have to throw the ball back.
And the text points this out perfectly. Just sending a message is not enough. For a communication to be complete, the roles must flip. They must trade places. There must be a reversal.
A reversal.
Let us break this down step by step for the listener so we can see the whole process.
Okay, step one. Bill is cause. Joe is effect. Bill throws the ball. He says, "Hello, Joe."
Step two. The message travels across the distance. Joe hears it. Joe catches the ball in his glove. Now, to keep the game going, Joe, who was the effect, must change his role. He must now become the cause.
Yes. Joe must reply. Joe is now cause. He moves his arm. He throws the ball back across the distance. He says, "Hello, Bill."
And Bill, who started as the cause, must also change roles. Bill must now become the effect. He catches Joe's reply in his glove. But there's one more detail here from the source text.
A very important detail.
It is a tiny detail, but it is incredibly vital. When Bill receives the reply, he must acknowledge it.
The acknowledgement. This is so important.
Let us define acknowledgement. The text says Bill must nod his head up and down, or he must say something very simple like great or okay or thank you.
Yeah.
Why does Bill have to say okay after Joe says hello? Why can Bill not just stay quiet?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the acknowledgement is what officially closes the loop. It is a receipt.
A receipt, like at a store.
Yes. When you buy something at a store, they give you a paper receipt to prove the transaction is finished. The nod, or the word okay, is the receipt.
Yeah.
It tells Joe, yes, I heard your reply, the transaction is complete.
What happens if Bill does not nod or say okay?
If Bill just stares silently, Joe is left hanging. Joe feels anxious. Joe is left wondering, did Bill hear me say hello back? Is Bill angry with me? Did I speak loud enough? The silence creates confusion.
I see. So this entire process, cause, distance, effect, reversal, acknowledgement, is what the text calls a cycle of communication.
A cycle. It goes in a complete circle. It is a continuous loop.
Let us think back to the failures from the first part of our deep dive. Remember the man rambling endlessly about his Ferrari? Mercedes, Bentley, Ferrari?
No, the non-ender. He never stopped talking.
Why did that conversation fail? Because the cycle of communication was never allowed to complete.
Exactly. That man stayed cause forever. He never let the other person become cause. He just kept throwing 100 baseballs at the poor listener. He never waited for the listener to throw one back. That is not communication. That is an attack.
It is exhausting just thinking about standing there, getting hit by all those baseballs. So we have the basic physical structure, cause, distance, effect. We have the cycle. They trade places. But the author tells us that this structure is still not enough.
Not quite enough.
It points out that even if you have cause, distance, and effect, actual communication requires several additional factors, secret ingredients, if you will.
Yes. The formula gives you this structure, like the metal frame of a house. But these additional factors are what make the house livable. They make the structure actually work in the real, messy world.
Here's where it gets really interesting. The text lists 3 specific secret ingredients, and these are big concepts.
Very big.
They're attention, intention, and duplication. We are going to explore each of these deeply, because these 3 words are the keys to fixing your problems. Let us start with the first one. Attention. Let me spell it. A-T-T-E-N-T-I-O-N. Attention. What does this mean in a practical way?
Attention simply means focus. It means directing your eyes, your ears, and your mind toward something. In our formula, the effect must be focused on the cause. The person catching the ball must be watching the person throwing the ball.
Well, let's go to the restaurant example. The customer wants to order chicken. You are the customer. You are cause. You are trying to speak.
Okay.
But the server, the effect, is looking down at their mobile phone. Or they're watching a sports game on the television across the room. They do not have their attention on you.
If you speak while they are watching the television, what happens to the baseball?
You throw the baseball and it hits them in the back of the head. Or it just falls on the floor.
Exactly. You cannot be a successful cause if the effect is not paying attention. Failure is guaranteed. So, attention is the first necessary ingredient.
How do you fix this in real life?
You do not just yell your order at the back of their head. You have to secure their attention first. You say, "Excuse me," and you wait for them to look at your eyes. Only then do you become cause.
That is a wonderful practical tip. Secure the attention first. Okay, the second secret ingredient is intention. Let me spell it. I-N-T-E-N-T-I-O-N. Intention. Now, this word sounds very similar to attention, but it means something completely different. What is intention?
Intention is your will. It is your inner purpose. It is your strong desire to do something. In communication, you have to actually mean to send the message across the distance. You must have the strong purpose of reaching the other person.
Can you give me an example of someone who lacks intention?
Have you ever seen someone walking down the hallway at work and they mumble "good morning" while staring at their shoes?
Yes, they say it very quietly. Good morning.
They lack intention. They are making a sound, yes. But they do not have the strong desire to push that sound across the distance to reach your ear. They are not throwing the baseball with purpose. They are just dropping the baseball on their own toes.
I love that image, dropping the ball on their own toes. So attention is about the receiver being ready and focused. Intention is about the sender being determined and clear.
That is a perfect summary.
And now we arrive at the third secret ingredient. And this is the biggest concept of all. The word is duplication.
Duplication.
Let me spell this big word. D-U-P-L-I-C-A-T-I-O-N. Duplication. What does this word mean in simple English?
To duplicate something means to make an exact copy of it. Think of an office building. You have a piece of paper with a beautiful drawing on it.
Okay, a drawing.
You place that paper onto the glass of a copy machine. You press the button. A new piece of paper comes out. You want the new paper to look exactly the same as the original. That process is duplication.
So if we apply that to human conversation, duplication means the exact idea in my head must be copied exactly into your head.
Yes. This is the most crucial step, and it is where most communication truly fails. Let's go back to the restaurant one more time to see duplication in action.
Yes, the famous chicken and the meatballs.
You are the customer. You have a picture in your mind. The picture is a piece of hot grilled chicken.
Yeah.
You use the word chicken. You throw the baseball. You send the message. But what picture appears in the server's mind?
For some reason, a plate of round, brown meatballs appears in their mind.
Exactly. The idea was not duplicated. The copy machine failed. The picture in the cause's head does not match the picture in the effect's head. Duplication has failed. Therefore, the entire communication has failed.
Why does the copy machine fail in real life?
Think about the copy machine glass. What if the glass is dirty? What if it is smudged with fingerprints? The copy will come out wrong.
That makes sense.
In human minds, those smudges are distractions. The server is worried about another table. The server is tired. The server is thinking about their own dinner. Those distractions smudge the glass, and the word chicken gets copied as meatballs.
This is so powerful because normally when something goes wrong in life, we do not think about copy machines.
No, we don't.
We just get angry, we yell, you never listen to me, or you always mess this up. We blame the person. But the expert analysis here is different. The source provides these three factors: attention, intention, duplication, so you can troubleshoot your life, like a mechanic fixing that broken car.
Yes. You can analyze any failure to communicate without getting angry. If an argument happens, you can step back and ask yourself a checklist of questions.
A checklist. I like that.
First, did I have their attention? No, they were watching television.
Yeah.
Okay, I will wait until the television is off. Second, did I have the intention? Was I speaking clearly or was I mumbling? Third, did duplication happen? I asked them to buy milk. Did I ask them to repeat it back to me to make sure the copy machine worked? You can isolate exactly which factor failed, and then you can fix it simply.
That brings us to our final segment today. Before we continue, I want to share a note with you, the listener.
Yes, a quick note.
Our source text mentions that this precise mathematical framework, this formula we are discussing, is part of what it calls Scientology technology. To be clear for you listening, we are not endorsing this viewpoint or any specific organization.
Right.
We are impartially exploring this text as a specific philosophical framework. We are breaking down its mechanics to understand the argument it is making about human connection.
That is right. We are analyzing the mechanics of the argument. And the text promises that learning these specific mechanics will teach users how to improve every single aspect of their communication.
The source outlines three very specific promises, three big improvements you can expect if you apply these rules of cause, distance, effect, and the secret ingredients.
Yes.
Let us break those three promises down. The first promise is how to make your communication understood by others.
To illustrate this, the text shows a brief, positive scene of a server in a restaurant. A good server this time. The server warmly offers our famous eggplant curry, and the customer smiles and understands perfectly.
So the first promise is about being a successful cause. It is about making sure your picture of the eggplant curry successfully enters the other person's mind. Duplication.
Exactly. The second promise is how to truly understand what others say to you. In the text, someone's saying thank you, and the other person receives it clearly, acknowledging it by saying, "You are welcome, have a good evening."
This promise is about being a successful effect. Learning how to focus your attention, clear the smudges off your mental copy machine glass, and catch the baseball smoothly.
And the third promise is how to correct any communication failures you have with others, which is exactly what we just talked about. Using the checklist attention, intention, duplication to troubleshoot and fix mistakes when the game of catch drops the ball.
So what does this all mean for us? We have talked about cause, distance, effect. We have talked about the baseball and the cycle of taking turns.
Yeah, right.
We have talked about attention, intention, and duplication. But the text does not end with just mechanical rules. It leaves us with a massive philosophical statement. It is the boldest statement of all. It says, communication is the solvent of any problem. A solvent. Let me explain that word slowly. Let me spell it. S-O-L-V-E-N-T, solvent.
To understand what a solvent is, think of a glass of warm water. Right. Now, take a hard, solid cube of white sugar. Drop that sugar cube into the warm water. What happens to the sugar?
It melts, it breaks apart, it dissolves. Soon, you cannot even see the solid cube anymore. It disappears into the water.
Exactly. In that physical example, the warm water is the solvent. A solvent is a liquid that dissolves or melts away something that is solid and hard. Soap is a solvent for dirt. Water is a solvent for sugar. The text is making a profound poetic argument here. It is arguing that our human problems, our arguments, our sadness, our misunderstandings are like that hard, solid block of sugar.
And communication is the warm water.
Yes. If you pour true communication onto a problem, the problem melts away. It dissolves.
That is a beautiful way to think about it. It implies something very important. It implies that problems only exist in the places where communication has stopped. When we stop talking, when we stop listening, the problems freeze. They become hard and solid blocks in our lives.
Think about your own life. Think about a misunderstanding you have with a friend, or a mistake you made at work that you are hiding, or an angry silence with a family member.
Those are heavy things.
These problems stay hard and heavy in your chest. They hurt. And they will stay hard until you apply the solvent. You must sit down. You must become cause. You must make sure they are a focused effect. You must get their attention. You must speak with intention. You must ensure duplication happens. And if you do all of that, the hard problem dissolves.
And that leads perfectly to the final beautiful line of the source text. It is a line I want you, the listener, to really hear and feel. The text says, to the degree that we can communicate, we are alive.
It is a stunning conclusion. To the degree that we can communicate, we are alive.
Communicate for life. It is beautifully simple, but it is so deep. Your level of aliveness, how truly vibrant and alive you feel every single day, is directly tied to your ability to connect with others. If you cannot communicate, if you are trapped inside your own head with your own thoughts, if your words never reach another person well, it is lonely. It is like being a ghost.
You are physically breathing, but socially and emotionally, you are isolated.
But when you connect, when you throw the baseball and someone smiles and catches it, when your ideas are perfectly duplicated in another person's mind, that feeling of connection is the true essence of life. It changes communication. It is no longer just a boring skill you learn for business. It becomes the very breath of our social existence. Communicate for life.
It makes you realize that every conversation is a chance to be a little more alive.
As we come to the end of our deep dive today, let us gently recap the journey we took together to make sure our own copy machine worked perfectly for you.
That is a great idea.
We started by challenging the idea that bad luck causes failure. We learned that actually bad communication causes the real failures in life. We learned about the fake communicators.
We learned about the server bringing meatballs instead of chicken. We learned about the father feeling sad when his beautiful gift only got a cold, cute, let it go response. We saw what happens when the connection breaks.
Then we learned the basic mathematical formula to build that connection. Cause, distance, effect, the throwing and the catching of the baseball. We learned that the roles must reverse, and we must nod and acknowledge to complete the cycle.
And finally, we learned the secret ingredients required to apply the warm water, the solvent, to dissolve our problems. We need attention to look at each other. We need intention to mean what we say. And we need duplication to make sure my idea becomes your idea perfectly.
If you can practice those steps, the text suggests you hold the key to solving almost any human problem. Before we sign off today, I want to leave you with one final thought.
Something to think about.
Something for you to mull over, to think about quietly as you go through your day. We talked about communication being the solvent, the warm water that melts the hard sugar cubes of our problems.
Yeah.
So what happens to the problems we refuse to talk about? If we refuse to be cause, if we refuse to apply the solvent, do those problems freeze? Do they become permanent, solid mountains of ice blocking the road of our lives?
That is a very powerful question. It really makes you realize the high cost of staying silent.
Think about that today. Think about where in your own life you might need to apply some warm solvent. I want to thank you so much for taking the slow, thoughtful, deep dive with us today. It is always a joy to explore these big ideas with you. Go out there today and practice. Practice being a great cause, and practice being a focused effect. Communicate for life. And remember, our very first thought, true understanding, is not like a doctor's x-ray. It is not automatic. You cannot just point a finger at it. You have to build it step by step, word by word, together. Until next time.